You know that feeling when you're home alone at night and you hear a sound you can't explain? A creak from the floorboards upstairs, a whisper on the wind outside your window. We tell ourselves it's just the house settling or the wind, but what if it isn't? What if something is trying to get in? For the Miller family, it started with a single piece of paper slipped under their front door one afternoon. It was folded neatly with just 5 words written in stark block letters. Never open the door after midnight. No signature, no explanation. At first, they laughed it off. A prank by some neighborhood kids, maybe. They taped it to the fridge as a joke and forgot all about it until that night. The clock on the mantelpiece had just chimed 12 when the first knock came. Not a loud, demanding bang, but a soft, hesitant tapping. Tim, the father, went to the peephole. He saw nothing, just the empty, moonlit porch. He was about to turn away when a voice whispered through the door, a child's voice, thin and trembling. "Please, let me in. I'm lost." It sounded exactly like their neighbor's little boy, Charlie. Tim's wife, Sarah, rushed to the door, her hand reaching for the deadbolt. "Tim, it's Charlie. He's out there alone." But Tim hesitated, his eyes fixed on the note still taped to the fridge. Something felt wrong. The streets were dead silent. Why would a 7-year-old be out at this hour? Against every instinct, he held Sarah back. No, wait. They stood there, listening as the small voice begged, then cried, then eventually faded away. The next morning, they saw Charlie playing in his yard, perfectly fine. He hadn't been out at all. The knocks became a nightly ritual, always at midnight, and always with a familiar voice. One night it was Sarah's elderly mother, her voice cracking as she pleaded that her car had broken down. Another night it was Tim's best friend, laughing and asking to be let in for a late-night drink, just like they used to. Each time the urge to open the door was agonizing. It sounded so real, so convincing. It preyed on their compassion, their memories. But the memory of that note and the chilling silence that always followed the pleas kept the deadbolt firmly in place. They boarded up the peephole, started sleeping with earplugs. They were prisoners in their own home after dark. 1 week into this nightmare, a storm rolled in, rattling the windows and shaking the house, and right on cue, at the stroke of midnight, the knocking began. This time it was frantic, desperate, and the voice. It was their own daughter Emily, who was away at college, hundreds of miles away. "Mom, Dad, please open the door. There was an accident. My phone is dead. I'm hurt." Sarah's heart shattered. This was different. This wasn't a neighbor or a friend. This was her baby. She could hear the genuine terror in her daughter's voice, the sound of her sobbing just on the other side of the wood. Tim grabbed her arm, his face pale. "Sarah, no. It's not her. We just talked to her this afternoon. She's fine." But a mother's love is a powerful, blinding force. All logic, all fear of the unknown was washed away by the sound of her child's suffering. "I don't care," she screamed, tearing away from him. "What if it's real this time? What if she needs us?" Before Tim could stop her, she threw the deadbolt, wrenched the handle, and pulled the door wide open. For a split second, there was nothing, just the driving rain and the howling wind. Then a figure stepped out of the darkness and into the light of the porch. It wasn't their daughter. It wasn't anyone they knew. It stood there, drenched and shivering, a perfect, horrifying copy of Sarah herself. It had her eyes, her hair, her terrified expression, and as the original Sarah stared, frozen in disbelief, the thing on the porch gave a slow, chilling smile. It was a smile that didn't belong on that face, a smile full of ancient hunger and triumphant cruelty. It took a single step over the threshold and whispered, in a voice that was a perfect mimicry of Sarah's own, "Thank you. I was so lonely out there." Then the door clicked shut and the house fell silent once more.